What if everything you were taught about being a good person was actually teaching you to abandon yourself? You were conditioned to smile while your soul bled, to stay kind when your heart silently screamed. But what if that wasn't kindness at all? Today, everything changes. Not because you become someone new, but because you finally reclaim the power you've been giving away all this time. Chapter 1. They trained you to be weak. They didn't just misguide you, my friend. They trained you. From the very beginning, they programmed you like a machine, not to think, not to feel, but to comply. You were taught to smile when you wanted to scream, to nod when your soul screamed no, to shrink yourself just so others could feel taller. They called it politeness. They wrapped your obedience in pretty words like kindness, humility, respect. But let's be clear, it was never about your peace. It was about control. They taught you to answer every message, to react to every insult, to show up for people who wouldn't lift a finger for you. And when you did, they didn't cheer for your strength. They clapped for your predictability because that made you easier to manipulate. You became an emotional puppet. Every look, every word, every moment of silence pulled your strings. Every time someone needed you, you were there. Not because they deserved you, but because you were conditioned to believe that love meant sacrificing yourself. And here's the hard truth. The world doesn't respect what it can control. It respects what it can't reach. Silence, boundaries, and power are things that can't be manipulated. But the manipulators, the experts at guilt trips and mind games, they win only when your buttons are still exposed. It's time to take them back. Time to become unreadable, untouchable. You're not being cruel. You're being wise. You're choosing you. Chapter 2. The Power of Becoming Unreachable. Now, listen carefully. Becoming unreachable isn't running away from people. It's running back to yourself. It's not about cutting everyone off. It's about reconnecting with your own sanity, your peace, your self-respect. For too long, you've been on demand, always available when people needed comfort, support, or attention. Not because they earned it, but because you were trained to believe that love meant overgiving. You were told that kindness means accessibility, that love means explaining yourself. But here's the brutal truth. Explaining yourself to people who are committed to misunderstanding you is emotional suicide. Every time you answered a message when your gut said no, every time you showed up when your soul needed rest, every time you compromised just to keep the peace, you were feeding a system that thrives on your weakness. And guess what? They knew exactly what to say, which guilt trip to pull, which silence would make you react, because you trained them. You gave them the remote control to your emotions, but not anymore. Becoming unreachable isn't about being mean. It's about emotional mastery. It's about taking back your power. You don't need to explain your absence, your silence, or your distance. That your peace is too expensive to be handed out to people who drain it. Your energy is yours. Your mental space is sacred. You don't owe anyone your time. You're not distant. You're just done leaking power. When you become unreachable, you become mysterious. You stop being predictable. You stop offering your energy to anyone who asks for it. And that's when your real power emerges. You don't lose love by becoming unreachable. You lose the illusion that love requires suffering. You don't become cold or heartless. You simply become selective with who you let in. And that's where your true power begins. Chapter 3. Silence is strategy. There's a reason the most powerful people in the room are often the quietest. Because silence isn't weakness, it's strength under control. Silence is power. It's presence without desperation, confidence without the need to perform. And most importantly, it's a strategy, not an accident. In a world addicted to noise, where everyone is screaming to be seen, the one who chooses silence becomes a mystery. And mystery isn't rejection, it's magnetism. It pulls people in, it makes them wonder, it makes them chase, because when you stop oversharing, stop reacting, stop explaining, you become unpredictable. And in the game of power, predictability is death. Predictable people are easy to manipulate. They are emotionally available on demand. They give away their energy to anyone who will take it. But you? Not anymore. Your silence becomes your shield. You speak less but say more. You walk into a room and your calmness commands attention. Not because you've begged for it, but because your stillness speaks louder than their noise. The less people know about you, the more they want to know. That's how mystery works. That's how magnetism is built. You don't have to announce every move. You don't owe anyone your story while it's still unfolding. Be rare. Be unreadable. Be unavailable. Stop being predictable. Stop handing out your energy like it's free. Stop explaining yourself just to be liked, because when you go quiet, they start watching, they start guessing, and they'll soon realize they never really knew you. And that, my friend, terrifies them. That's not weakness, that's leverage. Chapter 4. Let go to take back control. There comes a moment in life when holding on hurts more than letting go, when clinging to what once felt like love starts to feel like slow poison. In that moment, you have two choices: stay loyal to your pain or set yourself free. Let's be real for a second. You're not really afraid of losing people. You're afraid of losing the version of you that needed them. You're afraid of the silence that comes after the goodbye. But here's what they never told you: that silence is not punishment, it's purification. Because you're not losing people, you're liberating yourself from emotional cages you were never meant to live in. You've been holding on to love that drains you, to jobs that suffocate your soul, to friendships that feel like performances rather than peace. The longer you hold on, the more they hold you back. Not because they're valuable, but because your need for them has become their power over you. Letting go isn't weakness. It's a weapon. It's how you reclaim your space. It's how you stop begging for crumbs and start building your own feast. It's how you go from emotionally reactive to spiritually untouchable. The more you hold on, the more you're controlled by guilt, by fear, by the illusion that your life will fall apart without them. But let me ask you, what if I told you you're not falling apart? You're falling into alignment. Letting go is how you take back control of your life. It's how you stop being hijacked by every text, every silence, every argument. Because when you stop needing their validation, you stop performing, you stop explaining, you start being. No filters, no excuses, just unapologetic authenticity. And the people who can't handle your truth, let them go. They never belonged in your story anyway. You were never meant to fit into cages built by people who couldn't see your worth. Let go of the temporary to make room for the timeless. Let go of being understood to be aligned. Let go of being liked to be free. This is your rebirth. This is the moment you rise, not by fighting, not by begging, but by choosing you. Because when you let go, you don't just move on, you rise. Chapter 5. You can't save everyone. You've begun the journey inward. You've drawn the line. You've reclaimed your energy and declared your peace non-negotiable. But now, here's the next bitter truth you must face. You can't save everyone. Let that sink in. You can love someone with every beat of your heart. You can pray for them, support them, give them every tool, every second chance, every ounce of strength in your soul. But if they are committed to staying broken, to feeding the same wounds over and over, you cannot rescue them. Some people don't actually want healing. They crave attention. Some don't seek growth. They want your sympathy. And some, they don't want love. They want control. The more you try to lift them, the more you drown in the very chaos they refuse to escape. Your empathy is powerful, but it is not a lifeboat for someone who keeps drilling holes in the floor of the ship. You're not a savior. You're not their missing puzzle piece. You are not here to fix what they won't even admit is broken. There's a difference between offering help and carrying someone else's weight. There's a clear line between compassion and codependency. Sometimes the most loving, most honest, most necessary thing you can do is step back. Let them fall. Let them stumble into their own consequences. Let them meet themselves in the silence they've been avoiding. Because real healing rarely happens in comfort. It often arrives in the form of a breakdown, the moment when the soul gets tired of its own chaos, when the mirror of truth can no longer be avoided, when denial finally begins to crack and a sliver of light gets in. And you can't force that. You can't fast forward someone's awakening. And you are not a bad person for choosing your peace over their self-sabotaging patterns. So let them go. Wish them growth, and then turn inward. Because the only soul you were ever meant to save was your own. Chapter 6. Stop bleeding for people who won't bandage you. Let's be real. How many times have you carried burdens that were never yours? How many times have you been the listener, the healer, the emotional emergency contact for people who vanish the second you need help? You've become the emotional dump site People pour their chaos into you, their guilt, their fear, their insecurities, and you absorb it like it's your divine responsibility to make it all better. But here's the hard truth you've been avoiding. You can't save everyone. And more importantly, it's not your job to. Every time you put someone else's crisis before your peace, every time you bend your own boundaries to shield someone from their consequences, you bleed energy from your soul. And let's be clear, your energy is not infinite. Your emotional reserves are not a public resource. Your mind, your time, your healing, they are sacred, not up for public consumption. Not everyone deserves a VIP pass into your inner world. You have to become unapologetically selective, not because you're cold, but because you finally learn to respect your own spirit. Every time you dim your light to make someone else comfortable, every time you stay silent to keep the peace, every time you suppress your truth so someone else won't feel triggered, you betray the version of you that came here to evolve. You don't have to carry their pain to prove you care. You can love them and still keep your boundaries. You can care and still walk away because helping someone is not the same as saving them. You cannot save someone who refuses to swim. You cannot fix someone who gets comfort from staying broken. You cannot uplift someone who is addicted to their own drama. And the more you try, the more you break yourself. So stop. Stop bleeding for people who wouldn't give you a single bandage. Stop overextending for people who never once reached back. Stop interrupting lessons that life is trying to teach them. You are not selfish for stepping away. You are not cruel for choosing your own healing. You are not wrong for no longer letting your heart be a battlefield. Say it out loud if you must. I can't save you because saving you is costing me, and I won't pay that price anymore. And as you finally stop giving your power away in the name of being good, a new kind of strength begins to emerge. A strength rooted not in how loudly you love, but in how deeply you protect your peace. It's not about fixing or performing anymore. It's about presence, about power that whispers instead of shouts. And in the next chapter, we'll explore that very force, the magnetic pull of mystery, calm, and presence in a world addicted to noise. Continuing from where we left off, you've begun to realize that change doesn't come from constantly seeking approval from others. It's you, with your stillness and confidence, who has the power to decide. Now it's time for you to stop chasing. Start choosing. Chapter 8. Stop chasing. Start choosing. Let this be the moment you remember who you are. You are not here to run after anyone, to beg, or to convince anyone of your worth. You are not a project needing validation. You are the selector, not the seeker. The world will try to convince you otherwise. They'll tell you to prove yourself, to compete, to fight for a seat at tables where you were never meant to sit. They'll tell you to lower your standards so you can be chosen, but that's not your destiny. You were not born to chase approval. You were born to choose access. Your time is sacred. Your energy is premium. Your presence is a gift, and your soul is off limits to the undeserving. You don't owe anyone your story. You don't owe them your attention. You don't owe them access to the depths of who you are just because they showed interest. Because the truth is brutal, but you must face it. Your attention is currency, and you've been giving it away too easily. You've been giving it for free to people who only call when they need something, to situations that drain you but feed their ego. You've been explaining yourself over and over just to be seen. Stop. You are not an open book for anyone to flip through. You are a locked journal with golden pages, rare, protected, and sacred. Only those who have earned the key through respect, consistency, and authenticity deserve to read even one sentence of your soul. So stop chasing those who can't even see your value. Stop shrinking to be understood. Stop proving your worth to those who can't even hold their own. Start choosing. Start filtering. Start protecting your access as if it's royalty, because it is. The version of you that chases is exhausted, depleted, always seeking scraps of attention. But the version of you that chooses is empowered, unbothered, and radiates peace. From this moment forward, you no longer chase, you attract, and you never beg. You become so grounded, so rare, so aligned, that only the worthy even have the courage to approach. You are the prize. Act like it. Protect your energy as if it is sacred ground, because it truly is. Chapter 9. Conscious rejection is a superpower. Here's the harsh truth most people run from. Sometimes the strongest thing you'll ever do is walk away from what you thought you couldn't live without. Sometimes the real power isn't in saying yes to what you want. It's in saying no to what you know isn't aligned with who you're becoming. You see, there comes a point in your journey when desire no longer drives you. Discipline does. What you want is no longer enough because now you only accept what fuels your growth. This is where real men are made. The ability to consciously reject something or someone that once lit up your soul. Not because you don't care, but because you finally realize that your peace is the real prize. Your growth is sacred and your self-worth is no longer negotiable. Rejection is not cruelty. It's clarity in action. It's the moment your higher self steps forward and says, "This might feel good now, but it's not what I need long term." It's easy to accept things that feel good. It's easy to hold on to old flames, old friends, old patterns, even when they're slowly killing your purpose. What's hard? Saying no to comfort and saying no to history. Saying no to your own emotional hunger when it's begging for something that no longer fits your future. But that's where your sovereignty is born. That's when you rise from boy to man, from wounded to wise, from reactive to relentless. Because saying no isn't rejection of them, it's protection of you. Let this truth pierce deep. Not everything you lose is a loss, and not everything you want is worth having. When you learn to say no with calm, grounded authority, without guilt, without explaining, without shrinking, that's when you unlock true self-respect. So if it disturbs your peace, if it confuses your purpose, if it shrinks your self-worth, reject it. Walk away. Close the chapter. Even if your hands shake, even if your voice trembles, because real power isn't about controlling others, it's about controlling what you allow into your life. You don't need everything that looks good. You need only what aligns with your higher self. And sometimes, the door to your next level only opens after you slam another one shut. Conscious rejection and the power to choose are potent tools marking your growth and self-sovereignty in life. It's time for you to truly understand this power. Connecting forward. And if you think rejection and choice will stop here, you're mistaken. There's another form of quiet strength you must understand. It's the power of self-control.